This is where it all started. We had
Amazing.
put this car under cover and I haven't been in here for years and years, so there's all sorts of bits and pieces. That's the 1750 Berliner Alfa, which was driven here. I've never had it going on the road, but it was driven here. So
74? 70?
probably, yeah. Dealers at Maroon Alfa, it's fairly good in the body. Everything fits nicely and it's fairly good inside. It's a car that I was at one stage going to restore and use every day, but I had the Sportiva, which is bred in one of the other garages, and I just used that instead. Aurelia.
Aurelia?
Yeah.
Four-door?
Yeah,
They're pillarless, aren't they?
Yes,
There's no central pillar.
yeah. They got the same motor as a B20 coupe.
Yep.
The coupes are worth $250,000 now, but nobody really wants a four-door car. And a guy said years ago, he said, at least with a four-door car, you can wear your top out inside it, and it goes exactly the same.
And this is the same, this green one?
Yeah, and that one over there as well. There's two different cars here. That's a B10 in there, and these are B12s.
Yeah.
And there were 20 of these sold in Australia. They were expensive cars when they were new. They were the first V6 in the world. They've got the transaxle in the back, 5-speed gearbox. In 1950 they had that V6 engine. This is an unusual car. It's Lancia used to give the Italian coach builders, every year they'd give them a certain number of floor pans and they'd come up with their own design of a car, and this was Pininfarina, a two-door coupe, Appia coupe. So since I bought that car, there's one other guy's imported one, but they are very, very rare. We had a Porsche 911, I'll show you another Appia down the other garage here. We had a Porsche 911 which we went down to Belvedere and it was doing all the things a 911 should do, and 2 weeks later I went into the Lancia Appia and I thought, who needs a Porsche 911? This goes just as well. So they're all early Fiats. This is a Singer Gazelle, the car under the cover there. Singer Le Mans over by the wall over there, and genuine original car, 1934. That's a Fiat 1200 Spider. They never sold in Australia. There was only one ever sold here, and it was sold to the Italian consul, and they had heaps of trouble getting it approved and registered and all that, but the government stepped in and did something for him in the end. So Fiat 1100 TVs, you know, they're as rare as can be all around the world, yet one must have been sold in Melbourne because that's the front grille and the front lights off it. This was the Fulvia Zagato that we sold today, and that's a Flaminia, Lancia Flaminia, 2.83C Flaminia. Was I thought when I bought that car, I didn't go and see it, and I thought when I bought it, I'll just give it a tidy up and drive it, but it needs a bit more. I bought that car at an auction in California, and it was very difficult to get into Australia. Well, difficult to get it out of America, and then difficult to get it into Australia. That's interesting. On the back, it's got a fiberglass boot lid. When I bought this car, I thought, somebody put a fiberglass boot lid on it, and well, that's another thing I'll have to do. Many years later, a guy was writing about a rare Ferrari with a Pininfarina body and a fiberglass boot lid. So I wrote to him straight away. He was a very well-known Ferrari historian, And I wrote to him straight away and I said, I've got a Lancia with the fiberglass beetle. And he said, that'll be original. He said they were experimenting with fiberglass in those days, and it was pretty bad stuff it used to make all the workers very sick. Happier motors are only tiny. The cars are capable of easily 160 kilometres an hour. And I'd be surprised if that motor's not in very good condition. I think it was only taken off the road because of the damage to the front there.
Yeah.
And surprisingly enough, it was an auction in California, and that was the first car that they put up, and I bought the car. And later on, people were paying as much as this for rusty Fiat. The car under the cover is a mini Ferrari. The next one is a Fiat 1400. It's actually in fairly good condition, but I don't think I would ever restore it. This is a Fiat 1200 next to it. 1200 Spider. Lancia Rallia. Lancia Appia. Lancia Zagato. Flaminia and Fulvia. We got fairly carried away with Lancias. The quality of the manufacturer is just fantastic.
Yeah.
They say that Lancia lost money on every car they ever produced.
Yeah.
That's probably right because they're just so well made. There was a guy who died a few years ago, and he was very much a singer historian. He knew everyone. He said when he first came out from England, they gave him a card and they said, go and see this car. It's in Adelaide, and that's probably one of the best Le Mans in the world at that stage. And when I bought that car and he came down and said, this is the same car. It's been in Adelaide all that time, just parked in the garage. And it's got different horns on one side and the other, and that's how, and there was something different about the radiator and the hose up the top there, and that's how he identified it. And he said, it's just the same car. There's quite a few Le Mans in Australia. There could even be 12 of them, I reckon. Got 3 of them, 3 four-wheels.
Yep.
That's the Series 1, and the one up at Brooks Road is a Series 1 as well. But the yellow one is a Series 2. I wish I could remember that guy's name. He was very, very famous. He produced a lot of the really nice houses in Sydney, and he did the very tall building on, I think it's Australia Square. He was quite a famous architect. And both he and his wife both had Lancia Fulvia Zagatos at the same time. So we'll go there and have a look at, I've got 9 cars at the back of the pub.
Yep.
So we'll go and have a look at those.
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
You might have seen them before, have you?
Yeah, I have seen
That's where the Kestrel and the Epic.
Yep. Yep. And you got some more Lancias there as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on Lancias.
Wow.
Probably the best Raleigh you could get in Australia at the time.
Yeah.
It was all in bits and pieces when we bought it, and it took a long time to restore it, but we had to make all new guards for it. Obviously there weren't any imp guards around. Noel White actually made the radio show and all the windscreen we had to make. All of that was missing. I've got a lot of the original body. It was yellow colour and it was all aluminium body, but it was not in good condition. So all this body's new.
Yeah.
We made it all. It was sent out by the Riley factory for the 1935 Australian Grand Prix. It practiced, but it didn't run in the Grand Prix. And then later on it held CC record up Colin Grove Hill Climb in South Australia. It's had club competition always, but no international.
So I wonder why I didn't go and compete.
Yeah, I've never found out.
Is it mechanical or?
Oh, I don't know actually. Many years, a guy called Rolly Force in Adelaide owned this car. He bought it just before or just after the war, And he didn't even know why it didn't start. But there are photos in the Australian Grand Prix history book of the practice, of the car in the practice session, but it didn't start on the drive. Type 35. It's a per-second car. It's Dr. Bob King, who's written all the books on the Bugattis. I saw him up in Bendigo and he came over and shaking hands, and I said, Bob, I'm surprised you'd congratulate me for buying a replica. And he said, they're just fantastic, he said. The Bugatti Club was very keen in the early days because they said people would get them out and use them, but they've taken a little bit of a different tack now. They say if you can't afford a real one, we don't want to know you. Real ones have been hitting 15 million. The Kestrel I bought from Bob Fry. I had a lady about 5 years ago and she said, I think my parents might have owned that car. Sure enough, same car. It was the only 1938 Riley that was ever sold new in Australia. Well, basically a Sprite Series motor already. Yeah, it's a Sprite Series motor, but it's only got one carby. It's a mini Ferrari. Of all the really good cars, it's as good as any to drive. We've had Lamborghinis, we've had lots of Ferraris, and that is just fun to drive. This is the Aurelia. We did all the body work and painted it last year. Waiting on, there's a guy doing the motor at the moment, and he's not doing it real fast, but it'll happen eventually. And this thing, I basically made everything. We just started with the chassis and we made all the rest.
Beautiful.
And that's a Lancia Rapia in the corner. Same motor as the other car, but same floor pan even. These cars were released in 1950 and they're just amazing to drive. Cruise easily at 120 kilometres per hour from that tiny little motor.
Little dimples on the...
Yeah, like many Italian cars, these got it as well. I might say you could put a roof rack. I had a guy in here and he had a fairly new Jaguar, I can't remember what type, but he was saying on the Jaguar, he said, they make a strip like that, they just cut it off with the drop saw. But he said, Lancia, hand finish it, back in front of everyone. That's why they went broke. They just made them too well. The whole of it's pillarless, so the whole of the side just comes out of it. 1950 car and the doors just shut like... And,
So these were before the Aurelia?
yeah, about the same time, but these were the small car. The Aurelia was a bigger car. And then this Fulvia won the 1984 championship, so it was a very, very fast car back in those days. Faster than Falcon GCs.
So is this a local car?
Yeah, I think in maybe Brisbane.
So it's always been a competition car or just...
No, the body shell is just an ordinary 1.3 Fulvia, but it's got a competition engine in it. They've done everything else out as a racing car. They made quite a few of those Zicados, so about, I don't know, could be 700 made.
Okay.
The Zicados, so They did make quite a few of them. We used to know Peter Lowe fairly well. He used to be a member of the rally club.
Yep.
And his father, Frank, what was his father? His grandfather was Bill Lowe, who was the original importer of the Ferraris and the Lancias. I used to know Peter fairly well, and Peter was trying to sell me one of those when they were brand new. They were about $3,800 new when you could buy an MGB for $2,800. The MG probably went just as well as one of these, a standard one. And the Alfa was a bit cheaper than the Lancia, I think. I actually went to buy an Alfa. It wasn't 1750, it might have been a 1600 Alfa. And I finished up buying a Fiat 50 Coupe instead, which was, they always said was a mini Ferrari. It certainly went well. That's an Alfa engine down on the floor there, very, very famous engine. There's 24 Offies came to Australia. They got them up to 1,000 horsepower in the end, and they won Indianapolis in 1990. That was the last big win they ever had. But it's a monoblock. The head doesn't come off it. It's all machined from underneath. And this is a Ferrari 308 engine.
Amazing.
I started to build a Ferrari special with, the guy was killed unfortunately. In the end I didn't get all of the wheels and suspension back, so I've still got the chassis and I've got parts of the body, but not all of it unfortunately. This was a fairly famous car, the K Special. Was advertised in Just Cars, and I thought, oh, somebody will buy that straight away. I'm just wasting my time ringing up. Anyway, it was advertised second time, so I rang the guy who was standing in the shed when I rang him, and I said, how come you haven't sold the car? He said, oh, lots of people wanting photos and asking questions, but nobody's been to actually see it. So I said, I'll come and have a look straight away. And he was in a Chica, so it was a fair old drive, but I've got that car now. It's up at Castlemaine. And it's got a Lincoln Zephyr V12 motor. At one stage, it certainly was the fastest car at Roy, but at one stage it also held the Australian record, I think. It's a Stanguellini Formula Junior. Won a world championship race at Monza in 1960. Amazing fast car to drive. Only weighs about 380 kilos, so it absolutely gets up and goes. Fairly comfortable, but I couldn't get into it. I probably get into it, but I couldn't get out these days. When I was coming back from buying that car, I bought that car through a dealer in Spain, Barcelona. I bought it in Barcelona. We were just saying, coming back, what car would you like to have? And I said, if you ever find a Stanguellini Formula Junior, I'll buy one. And he rang me up about maybe 5 years later, and he said, I've got one. There were very few of these made, and I said, right, I'll do the same thing. I'll use up all my frequent flyer points and I'll come over and have a look. And he said, oh no, he said, if you don't make a decision straight away tonight, he said, it'll go to Japan. So I bought the car without even a photograph. Got quite a good racing history though. I bought a Rolls Royce at the garage sale, which was that blue. We copied the colour of the car.
Yeah, it suits it.
Yeah,
it's lovely.
Everything's been done to that. I spent a huge amount of money on it. Dorothy, she wouldn't know how much I've spent on it, but it's a $40,000 paint job.
Wow. And
we had to do all the rust on it before, and new wheels, new hubcaps, new tyres.
Yeah.
All these strips were all mangled and broken up. A guy in Geelong had some bits and pieces for one of these, and amongst his bits and pieces he had 2 back bumpers but no front. And I had 2 front bumpers with no back, so we did a deal, swapped over.
If you had to choose one car out of here, which one would you choose?
Probably the Riley Imp, I reckon.
Yeah.
I've had it the longest.
Yeah.
It's fun to drive though, the little Ferrari.
Yeah.
But the rolls are kind of different because they had what they call the sneeze factor. And it's almost like, well, the idea was if you had a sneeze, you didn't run off the road, but you know, the rolls turns about maybe about half a turn before actually anything happened, so we just stay on the side.
It's like steering a ship.
Yeah, well, that's what they used to say. Send the order down to the motor room and we'll pipe 3 bells and we'll turn it. Whereas the Ferrari, you know, if you just go like that and you're on the wrong side of the road.
Yeah.
This is a very rare car here. Only got it 2 weekends ago. Went over to Adelaide and got it. There were 30.
Lagonda?
Yeah, it is.
Lagonda.
Yeah. There were 30 of them made. 2 of them were sold in Australia. The guy I bought this car from, he knew the other one, but he said he thinks it's gone back to UK.
Wow.
It's got the Aston Martin DB3S motor.
Wow.
And, this car hasn't been going for a long time, but it's close to Rolls-Royce quality, and they were very expensive when they were new. But all these, they came with the radio and wheel trims and all those sort of things.
So 50, mid-50s?
Yeah, early 50s,
Early
53. So
aluminium?
Yeah.
Okay, that's heavy for...
Yeah. Nice and thick, I suppose.
Okay, so all this is just...
Oh, yeah, that part in front of the windscreen is all steel,
That's
but
all
the
steel,
rest of it
okay,
is
yeah.
aluminium. I would say the previous owner was in fairly good condition when he got it, but unfortunately it was in a lean-to like this, and the rain and the sun could get on it and it just deteriorated. When I put it on that trailer, it was sticking out the back of the trailer quite a bit. We had trouble getting on the trailer. Would have been as good as Rolls-Royce or Aston Martin or Jaguar in the 50s. You know, as good as a Mark 7 Jag in those days. Almost Rolls-Royce prices. Somebody was asking me during the day how come it's got that Aston Martin motor. Well, David Brown owned all 3 companies, and he owned Aston Martin, Lagonda and Tickford, who built the body, so he could almost do what he wanted. Hopefully we'll get it going. Yeah. It's on a chassis, but it's got all the independent suspension and inboard brakes, so it was very advanced for 1953. More advanced than the Aston.
And then Lagonda kind of finished up.
Yeah, every now and then they make another one. They, you know, if you got 10 million pounds, they'll make you one. In the early 80s, well, no, late 80s I suppose it was, they made that electronic car, and everybody thought it was just so fantastic, but it was a pain in the butt if it needed repairing. Yeah. Nobody could do it. Yeah, it's got rack and pinion steering. From the road tests which were done at the time, it was, they were fairly impressed with it. Everything's rusted up, unfortunately, and if I just let Tyson, the guy who always flew me loose on it, he'll break every bolt, so bit by bit we'll put WD-40 or something like that on the bolts and see if we can get them undone. Yeah. I had that Lancia radio, similar condition, and everything we touched, unfortunately, it was just rusted up and broke off, and we'll be a little bit more patient with this. We've got a guy who's an aircraft mechanic, and he came up last week, I think in the early part of last week, and had a look at it, and he said, oh yeah, I can do all that, and I can do this, and I can do that, and I said, righto, do the floors for me, and I'll be very pleased. Come on. Yeah, we'll put your...
Awesome, we'll follow you?
Yeah. Yeah, Mullen Parkwood in 1968, they were the first of them. Yeah. Made in the first year. And there's a plaque on the back of that car said it was made for Lord Derry Mountbatten, but that might not be true. I I had a fellow here very recently. He said you could get those plates and you could write what you like on them. So, but
When did it come to Australia?
mid-80s, I reckon, probably. I drove it over to Adelaide maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Yep.
And I was coming back, and there was a winery when we were coming back that we deal with down at the pub. And I thought it was right on 5 and all the workers had gone home. But the lady was still there and she said, I'll make you coffee. And so we just had a bit of a chat. And then she said, if you want to shift your car around the back, she said, I'll put a few crates of wine in. As soon as I turned the key, it caught fire straight away. Did $35,000 worth of damage to it.
So engine work?
Yeah, anything that was plastic or rubber is completely gone. Didn't actually burn for very long, but long enough to do a lot of damage. Fortunately, the paint, this is all the original paint, and the paint wasn't damaged. We were able to, all the, the under bonnet, well, I'll show you under the bonnet actually. Special order car, and they were made out of the four-door cars. They actually buy a four-door body, and then they'd cut it and change it around at the back. So it did a lot of damage under the bonnet. Surprising when a car catches fire, how quickly it spreads through all the wiring and the upholstery. I mean, we put it out. She had a small fire extinguisher there, and we had the garden hose as well. So we were able to put it out fairly quickly. But all the powder from the fire extinguisher went in there, and the black soot and all the rest of it. And it was quite a mess when we brought it home. Took about a year to restore all underneath. But there's a design fault in those, which I don't know. I don't know why even Rolls-Royce might. If they flood, there's a little tube that goes down the back there and puts your extra petrol out on it. But you've only got to have a few drops of petrol and you've got the generator sparking all the time and you've got a fire. So it's not, Rolls-Royce is supposed to be the best designer, but unfortunately they slipped up on that to be like, sold new in Hong Kong and imported into Australia. So it didn't do too many miles in Hong Kong. The guy I bought it off didn't actually use it at all, and I've been using it quite a bit though. So it's only done 87,000 miles. Hard not to feel like royalty when you're driving that thing. It's almost 7 litres V8 engine.
And is it an automatic or?
Yeah, automatic. Yeah. All the clouds were. Before the clouds, you could get manuals, but all the cars were automatic.
The single headlights, I much prefer that look.
Well, yeah. It's on the model after this, they went to double headlights. Again, there was a few design faults. You can't change the plugs. Normal person can't change the plugs in it. You got to have it on a hoist, and you got to have the special tools and all that. Just an original car, the way they were. I use it quite a bit, and it goes very, very well. People don't realise how good the performance of a Rolls-Royce was. These cars were good for 120 miles an hour. They weigh about 2.5 tonnes, but yet the brakes were all designed properly, and the tyres and all those sort of things. And they actually handle quite well, and they're quite a fast car. Yeah, we've had that for many years, that Ferrari. I can't drive it anymore. I had a stroke 5 years ago, and I can't drive it, but my son does occasionally. Brand new. It had done a few kilometres when we got it. I think we're the second owner of it. 550 Maranello. 2001. There was a thing on the internet about how good was a Ferrari 550 at maximum speed. A few people wrote in there, and a guy wrote in and he said, well, we had a portion that used to go there in the motorways in Europe at about 250 and do all the things that a Porsche should do. And he said, and then we got a 6.3 AMG Mercedes, and that'd do about 250 in the motorways as well. And he said, now we got a 550 Ferrari, it'll do 320. My wife just sits and knits. It was so stable that she didn't have any worries at all. Back in the old days, I've had that car well over 250 kilometres an hour. Wouldn't do it now, you go to jail straight away. This is one of the last Rolls Royces ever made.
Oh, Silver Spirit.
Made by the, Spirit Free. They've quite a rare car. They were never sold in America. I thought I had the only one in Australia, but it turns out there's a couple more of them. 94, 95, 495. The best that they built, but expensive to do anything, if you've got to repair it, it's fairly expensive. I bought this car up in Sydney. I saw it advertised and up in Sydney, and we went up to get it. Yeah, they went to the Silver Seraph, which wasn't very popular, but Rolls-Royce had to do something in the few years between the Volkswagen takeover and when they started building cars at Goodwood. So they made the Silver Seraph, and that is a 4.4 litre engine in it, which was a high revving engine. Traditionally, Rolls-Royce is pretty low revving. That's a very fast car. You wouldn't believe how fast it goes for 2.5 tonnes, and quite happily cruising along at 140 miles an hour, not kilometres. That MX-5 was actually made on the first day that they made them. It's number 208.
So 1989?
Yeah, never been wet in its life. Just like a new car, 28,000 kilometres from new. It was actually, I was forever looking on the internet, and it was on car sales on a Monday night of all things, and I rang the guy pretty much as soon as it was on, and I said, I was away at the time, and I said, can you hang on to the car until Thursday when I get back? And he said, no, the first person who comes with the money will get the car. And so I rang him back on Tuesday morning, and I said, I hope you're telling the truth, because I'll buy it without even seeing it. That's how we happened to get that one. It's just like a brand new car inside. Yeah. You can still smells like a brand new car inside. Most MX-5s, the headlights don't fit in the front. They're all gone, somebody's got them out of shape or whatever, but this is just like brand new. These are amazing cars. I took it up to Ballarat yesterday. That's why it's fairly dirty, but they just waft along the road at any speed you want to do, in almost complete silence.
Does the spirit of ecstasy go down, or does it stay?
It does, but it's not easy to get it back up again. Okay. Doesn't just pop up. It goes down when you have an accident or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, it's a workshop job to get it up again. And now it gets used fairly regularly. I would have it, it's on club permit 45 days, but probably got it out 35 days of the year. Oh, they got that much insulation. They were saying yesterday, the modern Rolls Royce has got that much insulation in the head and under the feet, and just to keep out the noise for road noise. And Rolls went to so much trouble. There's no holes in the firewall. Where they wanted to put the wiring through the firewall, they put a plug on this side and a plug on that side, so it all plugs in. And things like that. They were conscious that the owner might be in London traffic and might have to breathe the smog of the bus that's in front, so they put a filter under the seats here, and it draws fresh air for the owner. All sorts of things like that. You don't get any rain on the side windows. It's all designed so that the air is over the side windows. There's no, you don't have to turn on the back window under, electric demisting. It does it all automatic for you. You don't have to, somebody was asking yesterday about the cruise control in this car. You just press a button, it does all the rest. That's where your $500,000 went if you bought a new one though. When the Rolls Royce guy came here, he came maybe about 3 years ago. I didn't want to ask him too much, but I asked him about who goes in and buys a new Rolls Royce, and he said, well, the youngest is about 3 years old, and but he said, I just have people like they might be a train driver or a cleaner or something like that. They just put $1 million down on the counter, and we'll have one of those. It'll whatever colour you got, and it's interesting. I thought when we first saw this car, I thought, oh yeah, it's got Michelin tyres, so I'll be good. Apparently they're no good. They're very noisy.
Okay.
And Tony, who's done a little bit of service on this car, he said every time I see him, he said, have you thrown away those tyres yet? And they came with Avon turbo speeds, which were specially developed for them originally, but they're very, very expensive now. I've forgotten. They were nearly $1,000 a tyre, I think. Yeah, people have, is it Chinese or Japanese tyre, which seems to be fairly good. I'll try that one. Okay. I haven't been in here for years and years, so there's all sorts of bits and pieces. I haven't been in here for years and years, so there's all sorts of bits and pieces just been stacked in there.
Wow. Moretti. Wow. What's the story on the Moretti?
Oh, I bought it from California years ago. The floors in the boot are rusted out, but the rest of the body's probably fairly good. It's got a run big end, I think. I've never had it going. They never sold them in Australia. There's one other the same as this, or there might be two others the same as this, and the guy in Sydney's got some as well, but they're later models. Moretti had a single overhead cam 750cc engine. They were actually quite good performance. Yeah, that's a Series 2 for you. This was owned by a Sydney architect. I just can't remember the guy's name, but he was very famous. He had something to do with the Opera House as well, and that was his personal car. It's a complete car, but it's very rusty.
Yeah.
I got some new panels made for it. I had these floor pans made and those panels in there made for it, and I think I've got new doors and a new boot lid. Peter Zagato.
That looks like it's had some work done to it.
Oh yeah, it was partly restored, and the guy lost interest, and I finished up buying it.
Yeah.
It was complete. Bits and pieces all over the place, but it was sort of complete car.
Yeah.
And that's a Lancia Appio Saloon. I'm a bit disappointed when I bought that car in California and had it shipped over here, and there was a few parts missing, quite a few parts missing, but I managed to get most of them. And a very early Fiat 1100 103 series, and they would have sold quite a few of those here, but none of them still exist. I got about maybe 4 of them, but I've never seen one on the road. And this is an Alfa 1750 JFA. A guy was telling me this morning that it's a Series 2 car. I always thought it was a Series 1, but he said it's maybe a Series 2. I've had that car more than 20 years. I've driven it quite a lot.
I think you said the Series 1 seats.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was a Series 1.
Yeah, but the Series 1, this has got the Series 2 bumpers.
Yeah.
The Series 1 bumpers don't have the Series 1 didn't have the overriders.
Okay.
They have more of a rounded bumper.
Okay.
But these seats are really desirable.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a guy who used to be a boat upholsterer, and he re-upholstered those 2 seats for us originally. The rest of the car was pretty much original.
Yeah.
But I went to buy a Lancia full wheel from the guy who was down in Brighton way. After having a look at the Lancia, I thought, oh no, probably won't buy it. And he said, you might be interested in some of the other Italian cars. And he had this one, and he had Maserati, and he had quite a few Italian cars. Oh, I said, yeah, I'll buy that. That'll be all right. It's got horrible paintwork. It's got cross feet in the paintwork.
Yeah.
But it polishes up quite well. But it's got, plenty of marks in the paint from just being stuck in here. But you can see there where it's got that cross footing. It's on the boot lid and it's on the front. It's been like it ever since I bought the car. One good thing about it, most 1750s crack there, but it's got no cracks in it. You use this a lot. And it's on current club registration. Certainly the battery won't be good. Been sitting here for
I should have brought a battery with me.
maybe 4 years. Well, originally we were asking 45,000 for it because that's what Steve Lynn had said it was worth. But actually prices have dropped down a little bit now, so we let it go a bit less, maybe 35.
35? I'd be happy with 35.
It's a very good little car, so you won't go wrong with
I'd be
it.
happy with 35.
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay.
35.
Yeah, it's your car.
Can I pay a deposit?
Yeah. When it's parked over the other side, well, that guy said to me this morning, he said, what did he say? I can't remember what his words were, but something like, it doesn't stand a close-up look, but it looks all right when it's over the road.
Yeah.
I'd have parked in town once and there was a very big crowd around it.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, something's gone wrong. Somebody got sick or it, but I was just looking at the Alfa Romeo. And,
I'd love to drive it home if I could.
Well, we're talking about it today, actually. I think it is drivable.
Yeah.
I won't guarantee it, but I think if you put a new battery in it and we get it running, it'll be horrible when it first starts up, but a good run home might be all it needs to blow it out and clean it out.
That might be the plan in a couple of weeks, if that's okay. I think I saw this car about 15, 20 years ago.
Maybe,
I think you drove it to an event.
Yeah, maybe, So, I don't think this car's ever been rebuilt. It's certainly had a lot of work done on it in my time, but it hadn't had a full engine rebuild as far as I know.
Yeah.
Whatever the mileage is, it will be genuine because I'm pretty sure I'm probably only the second owner of this car, so and I've had it a long time. So I think it's got Weber covers.
Yeah, they'll car covers.
Or Solex.
Oh, Solex.
Solex, is it? Yeah.
I think they were originally with Solex, weren't they? Or Webers.
Well, it's a bit like Fiat. They have get Weber's cheap, they put them on.
Yep.
When I worked over in Eritrea, there was lots and lots of Italian cars, old Italian cars there, and I actually got deported from Eritrea. I didn't have the right visa to stay there, and so they tolerated me for the first 6 weeks, but after that they said, you better get out.
Yeah.
So I chucked away all the clothes and textbooks and all the rest of it. I just took home Weber and sold the scarbies that I bought out of a wreckage yard. You know, when the board of Alfa Romeo, we're going to make a twin cam 1750. It's just amazing that they could do it with a pair of Webers on it. And, but I don't think you'll go wrong with it. I think I wouldn't sell it to you if I didn't think it was a fairly good car. I sold I had another 1750 years ago, and I sold it to a young guy, fairly cheap. I think it was about $12,000 I sold. Yeah. And afterwards I used to have nightmares thinking of, what if this goes wrong or what if that goes wrong. Yeah. And I saw this guy up at Wedderburn Sprints about maybe 6 or 8 years later. Yeah. And he said, that was a fantastic little car, I've still got it. So I felt good, actually. Yeah.
I think I just bought a car.
Well, you won't go wrong with it, I'm sure. Somebody was saying even, it's got its original wipers and things like that. They were saying how good it was because it's never been messed around. It's got its original wheels and hubcaps, and you know, they put all sorts of mag wheels on them, but it's just an original little car. So it'll be horrible when you first start it, but put a new battery in it, run it back to Melbourne, it'll probably go quite well.
That would be the plan.
We might, if you want to come down, we'll probably pull the plugs out and clean them, and put goodness knows the fuel could be, well, it'll be 4 years old at least, so we might put a drum of fresh fuel in it, and but I think you'll find it's a pretty genuine little car.
Yeah.